Hi, I'm Dave Mast. Welcome to OhioSportsTicket.com's Ticket TV, brought to you by Hummel Group Insurance and Wealth Management. Today we're at Orrville High School, and we're going to take a look at one of the all-time great, not only Wayne County athletes, but local athletes who achieved so much over his career, not just here at Orrville, but went on to Western Michigan. Tim Hiller, quarterback, basketball player, track star, you name it, he's done it. He's currently doing a lot of speaking, and he's got a lot to tell us. So let's join Tim now in the locker room here at Orrville High School. We are joined here in the Orrville High School locker room. It's a familiar place for Tim Hiller. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, Tim, you've got a lot of great memories here, and obviously you set a lot of school records, a lot of Wayne County records. This is where you got your, you cut your teeth, so to speak. You know, what kind of memories do you have here at Orrville High School?
Oh, so many. This is a special place and a special community, and my wife and I have lived numerous places around the country. We're in Michigan now, and there's not many communities quite like this. And I think it's a community that values its youth and values athletics, but more than just that, it values the lessons that athletics can teach. And so if I look back over my life and a lot of the things that I still hold dear to, it's those lessons that I was taught here, you know, from 9th through 12th grade on a football field, on a basketball court, on a track, with mentors, teachers, coaches. And so I hold Orrville near and dear to my heart always.
And how does the experience here prepare you to go on to play Division I football at Western Michigan like you did?
It prepared me very well. I think one piece of it was the system that Bill McMillan and Doug DeVault ran. I mean, we threw the ball a lot. I had a lot of responsibility. So in one sense, that was it. But in the other sense, it was really the work habits. I mean, the weight room was a way of life when I was in school. Watching film and preparation and summer workouts were a way of life. And it's no secret that that is the way it is as well as a Division I athlete. And so I really felt well prepared for that opportunity.
And obviously your leadership skills as a quarterback alone have to be something special. But to do what you did, the leadership part of it has to be it factors into the equation a lot, doesn't it?
It does. And, I remember, I think it was my junior year, Coach DeVault coming to me and saying this simple sentence. He said, "We will go as you go. We will go as you go." And I share that with kids a lot because it could have been a pressure thing. It could have been something like, wow, all this responsibility. But his point was, if you're on today, if you're working today, if you're setting the example today, we'll all work hard. If you play well and your attitude's good, we'll all play well. Conversely, if you don't, we'll follow. And so it was kind of a realization at a young age that I had an opportunity to be a leader. I had an opportunity to use athletics in a positive way to make an influence, not just on my peers, but on the community at large and on others. And I've tried to do that even beyond the game.
And as one of the OHSAA's top passers in the history of Ohio, obviously there's a correlation that goes from playing here at Orrville to playing at Western Michigan and making that transition. How did that go? First of all, how was the recruiting process?
Yeah, so the recruiting process, I'll actually share a little bit about that today when I get to speak with the kids here at the high school. It was bumpy. My senior year had several options, and in the first round of the playoffs in what was the fall of 2004, we were playing at Youngstown Liberty High School, and I broke my collarbone. We were winning in that game 19-7. We ended up losing 36-19. So not only was my senior year done, but my high school career was in effect done itself. And so I remember vividly a coach calling me and saying, "Look, I got two guys. I like them both. You and another guy. One's healthy. You're hurt. Who do you think I'm going to take?" And "Well, sir, you're going to take the healthy guy." And he said, "Good luck with everything you do." And so all these options that I had during my senior year went away, and Western Michigan was the only Division I scholarship I received. It was the only opportunity I had. And I look back on that experience, and I think, man, God had a plan through all that.
Yeah.
He had a place that he meant for me to be. And I played as a true freshman, and it was kind of by accident. A fifth-year senior got hurt for the year. The second guy that came in didn't fare very well. And so week 4, 18 years old, I'm in the lineup, and had to grow up quickly. And I think those formative moments shaped me into a man in many ways, shaped my character, taught me the value of leadership and responsibility, and I just was thrust into it and had to learn on the go.
And I think one of the most impressive things about you is the fact that you were able to go to a Division I school, experience huge success, started every one of your years, and to be able to maintain a 4.0 GPA. I think that's so impressive. How hard is that?
It is hard. Another story I share a lot when I get to speak is I never really set out to do that. My dad took me through an exercise, really challenged me to write down my goals when I started high school. And so, I'm writing down things I can't control, like how big I want to be, how tall I want to be, and those type of things. But one of the things I vividly remember, I was probably only 14 years old, writing down was I wanted to just get a 3.0. And I remember about a semester, 2 or 3 into high school, I'd gotten consecutive 4.0s, and it was almost like I had to prove to myself, I'm capable of this. And so if I'm capable of this, why would I do anything less? Why would I settle for anything less? It doesn't make sense. And so that's kind of where it started. And then it just became this pursuit that I wouldn't rest unless it was otherwise, unless I could achieve what I set out to. So didn't necessarily set out to do it, but once I proved to myself I was capable, then I wasn't willing to settle. So it was kind of that mindset of don't rest until this is accomplished.
And I know your faith has also been a big part of your entire career, and a lot of people might try and separate those two things. Obviously, that has not been the case for you. That's even today as you speak, I know it really comes through in what you talk about.
Yeah, I think the reality is, whether we know it or not, we all have a God-shaped hole in our lives. And it's a privilege to use the platform of football, the platform of athletics, even till today. I have a burning desire to do that because I'm 30 years old now, and with each year I'm getting older. With each year I'm getting more and more forgotten and falling into the shadows, and there's no way of avoiding that. And so the more that I can share that message, the better. And the message I often share is Colossians 3:23, and everything that you do, work at it with all your heart as though serving the Lord and not men. And that means that we should be fierce, ferocious, working competitors. We should strive for excellence on the field, but at the same time, we should do it for a higher purpose, not ourselves. And we see plenty of that in athletics where people are in it for themselves. And so if I can convey that in some way, that's hopefully powerful to a young man or woman coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, you've had a wonderful opportunity to share with young people, and obviously that's near and dear to your heart. And you have a chance to make an impact now that goes far beyond the football field. Now, how enjoyable is that for you to be able to make that impact, and what message are you trying to share with the kids?
Yeah, for sure. It varies. A lot of it is overcoming adversity. One thing about my story many people don't know is that in all reality, what I accomplished in college never should have happened. My freshman year, at the end of that year, 18 years old, I had a very significant knee injury. I tore the ACL, MCL, and PCL on my right knee. Sat out a year. The following year in 2007, 2 years removed, had a broken foot. Thankfully, it didn't fracture all the way, and so I played most of that year with a broken foot, had surgery after that season, and then 2008, in that Illinois game, tore my ACL. A lot of people don't know that. Played 3 more games with it, kind of got dressed in the training room so no one knew, and then had surgery in January. And really my only healthy year was my 5th year in 2009. And a lot of people don't know that, because if the timing had been any different or the severity had been any different, I easily could have just never played. I could have been on IR the whole time. And so I'm always just very, very thankful that I had those opportunities. But the things that it taught me of overcoming adversity are very important. Today the message will be very simple with the kids here at Orrville. It's going to be all about character, commitments, and work. Who you are, starting and finishing the things that you set out to do, and then working hard along the way.
Okay, and finally, you talk about teaching. I know that a lot of what you learned in your life growing up came from your grandfather,
yes,
who himself was a pretty good player. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so my grandfather was a part of the 1952 Rose Bowl team at the University of Illinois, the last team to win a Rose Bowl at Illinois. I think they went in 2008 under Ron Zook's leadership, but they haven't won a Rose Bowl since 1952. And he was a starting center on that team. He was an all-Big Ten performer. He went to the East-West Shrine game, played in that senior all-star game back then, and just growing up seeing that old black and white tape without face masks, and seeing his ring and his jersey, it was something I always aspired to. And he's a role model, a mentor. He's 85, still alive, in good health, and somebody that I have always had a tight-knit relationship with. And I always admired him, not because he pushed me to do it. In fact, he was very hands-off when it came to football, but when he saw that I had talent and ability there, he always encouraged me. And so he's the namesake of our son, Daniel, and he's the reason in many ways that I've pursued the goals that I have.
Well, Tim, we've talked some about your career here at Orrville and Western Michigan, and growing up football and your grandfather. Let's talk a little bit now about what you're doing these days and kind of what keeps you busy.
Yeah, so one of the things that's growing and taking up a lot of my time is this business called Next Level Performance. So we own a training facility in Southwest Michigan, have a partnership with another kind of dome area. It used to be an old driving range indoors that we've outfit with some turf and different things. And it gives us an opportunity to invest in kids on the field and certainly their training, strength and conditioning, speed and agility. We offer training now over 7 or 8 different sports, spanning from wrestling and volleyball to baseball and football, a little bit of basketball in there as well as some other things. But the whole message is leadership and character development. And so as part of every single session, we cut out 10, 15 minutes or more and run them through a curriculum that we've built and developed to really try to teach leadership in a relevant and real way to the kids, and helping them to understand that there's something beyond the game that matters more. And so that's something I'm very passionate about and playing a role in right now.
Nice. And you've also got a book out there on the market too, don't you?
Yeah, the quick story on that is it was never something I really set out to do. When I was cut by the Colts, I had an opportunity to be mentored by a pastor as he helped me through a difficult time, and he really challenged me to journal at it. and think about those experiences and what I was learning, and I wasn't very good at it. But what I found is if I could write to an audience and share some of those lessons learned as I grew as a man, that I could hopefully impact the lives of others. So long story short, through a number of circumstances, wrote that over 3 or 4 years. And actually met a published author who encouraged me to pursue publishing. And that's kind of where it all came to.
And the name of that book is?
It's Strive, and the subtitle is Life is Short, Pursue What Matters. So it's a faith-based devotional, 52 weeks. You read one a week. There's some scripture and then some stories and lessons learned. And my hope is that it can be a practical application for those that take part in it.
And where can people find this at?
It's on Amazon, so if you search Strive or my name, you'll find it there, or at timhiller.com. You can get through it as well there. But it's just really a ministry tool. It's an opportunity to hopefully expand the message after I'm gone if I have a speaking opportunity, and impact kids and adults.
Good. And you touched a little bit about on the professional career part of this thing with the Colts and a couple other teams. Talk a bit about that experience and what was that like? Because not many people get to experience that level.
Yeah. I was kind of a journeyman. I never fully stuck anywhere. I was in Indianapolis somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 months, went all the way through the preseason, and it was let go at the end. But kind of lived in hotels and saw the side of the business you didn't see, but learned a ton. It was a great experience. I love the game of football, and the opportunity to continue it after college was such a blessing. And spending time around folks like Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday and Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark and Joseph Adai and some of those guys that made the Colts great for a number of years. I learned lessons that went far beyond football. I certainly learned a lot as a quarterback, but learned a lot more about leadership and work and commitment and the things that it takes to sustain a successful career at that level over a long period of time. And so no regrets. It would have been great to last longer, but I'm thankful for every opportunity that I've had.
I'm sure you hear a lot of kids who want to follow in that same footstep and go pro, and obviously it's extremely difficult. What do you tell kids when they tell you that's what they want to do?
Yeah, I tell them to go for it, but I also tell them to do it with the right perspective. The amount of opportunities that you have are so limited, as there are many great athletes out there. As you get older and as you begin to specialize, you begin to see that it's a big world with a lot of people that want the same dream. And the time that you get to do it is so short. So I encourage them to go after it with gusto and with everything they have, but also with a bigger perspective that there's more to life and there's more to it than just that. And they can actually use the platform of athletics to influence and impact the lives of others.
Yeah. Well, everybody needs an inspiration. You have an opportunity now to be an inspiration in so many different ways for these young people coming up, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time and making the effort to do that. It's a huge and important role that you can play. So Tim, thank you so much for joining us here. We appreciate you taking the time to come here and chat with us a little bit.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
For OhioSportsTicket.com, I'm Dave Mast.